Okay, in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to set up your chart with this info panel and how to read it. So in order to set this up, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open the Discord and you want to open a Gabe's chart. Go into this chart and make a copy of it. Once you have this chart here, to add this indicator, you're going to want to go back into the Discord and you're going to want to find my link. You can only add this panel through this link. It's not available to the general public, only to those with the link. So click on this link and open it. And once you have this link open, scroll all the way down and you will find you want to use this script on a chart. I've already added it before, so I'm going to add it again here. You want to click on this add to favorite indicators button. Once you do that, go back to Gabe's chart and you can click on indicators here and it should show up in your favorites. So you can click on it to add it, but even if you're TradingView Pro, this is going to complain that you need a better version of TradingView to add this indicator, and your Pro plan has a 5 indicator limit. There are already 5 indicators on this chart, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in order to add this, we're going to need to remove at least one indicator. So in this case, I'm going to remove both of these indicators. And don't worry about that. My indicator incorporates both of those into one. So if you just add this one again, you'll find that your support and resistance levels are back, and also your EMA crossovers are back. Right? I've built these two indicators and this one into just one. And you also now have room to add another indicator from this of your choosing. So once you have this, you want to save your chart, and you can do that by just clicking on this button. Okay, I'm going to show you how to read this panel now. So in this panel, the first thing you're going to notice is this 1348 column. This shows you crossover information. Let's look at the 5 minutes. This is saying this just if you have a cell with just this red triangle, all it means is there has been a put signal triggered on a previous candle, right? So this is just saying that this is right now in put territory and that put triggered over here, and we can see that. This number next to it is the separation or the gap between the 13 EMA and the 48 EMA. And you'll notice that on the 4 hours there is an X, a triangle, and the cell is highlighted. What does that mean? Well, that means on the 4-hour chart, on the current candle, there is a put signal, right? So if the cross happens on the current candle, the cell is going to be highlighted red. You're going to get a cross and a triangle. Let's go back to the 5 minutes. The next thing we're going to look at is the 200 EMA. The 200 EMA also has a triangle. That means the price action is below the 200 EMA and it has crossed below the 200 EMA on a previous candle. So it crossed below over here. And this percentage is the gap between the current price and the 200 EMA. The RSI number, it's 40.89. It is just this current RSI number printed over here. You will also notice in the RSI column that this one's yellow. This indicator has a mid-range between 45 and 55. It tells you that if the RSI is between 45 and 55, it's going to color it yellow. And on the daily, you're seeing a cross here. Now, what does that mean? Let's go to the daily. All it means is on the current candle, the RSI has crossed from above 55 down into the 55 to 45 range. So it's just crossed below 55 and the cells highlighted yellow. This can indicate sideways trading, but that might not always be true. All it's saying is, hey, like the RSI is approaching 50, watch out for it. Let's go back to the 5. The MACD, it's got a green triangle. That means the MACD histogram is green, and this negative 0.35 is the value of the MACD line, right? So you have the MACD line here, it's at negative 0.35, and that is this number. On the daily, we are seeing a cross on the MACD. So this means on the current candle, the MACD has just had a cross into the red. And this value 11.95, well, it is the same MACD line value at 11.95. The STC is green, that means it's up in this green range, right? If this is green, this is green. If this is red, this is going to be red. So let's go into the 30 minutes because we see it being red over there. And you can see it is indeed red over here and it is red over here. And the VWAP, this just indicates that the price is below the VWAP right now. And when it crosses above the VWAP on the current candle, you'll get an X just like here, right? And let's open up a different stock so we can take a look at this STC better. Tesla, you can see there's a cross on the STC. So if I were to go to the daily on Tesla, you can see on the current candle, the STC has got a red dot here. That means it's crossed down, and that's exactly what this is telling you. This is also telling you that the MACD has just crossed down. It's also telling you that the RSI broke from above 55 into the 55 to 45 into the mid-range. But there is a 1348 EMA cross on the call side that happened earlier, which is over here, and there's a 7.7% gap between these two EMAs. There's a 13.48% gap, 0.84% gap between the 200 EMA and the current price as well. And the price is currently above the VWAP. The VWAP line isn't shown here. You can add the VWAP indicator through there. Another feature of this panel on, let's say, this stock TKNG, you'll notice that the 4 hours is colored red. What does that mean? Well, all it means is every indicator on the 4 hours is red. Notice that the 200 EMA is colored red. That means the 200 EMA across all time frames is in the red. Okay, now let's talk about one more important thing. You'll notice that if I jump to the 5 minutes, my 1 and 3 minute rows are hidden, and if I jump to the 30 minutes, my 5 minute row is hidden. Now why is that? Well, unfortunately there is just a limitation with the way indicators work in TradingView, where if you are not able to get accurate information on time frames lower than the one that your chart is currently on. That means if I'm on the 30 minutes, I cannot get accurate information about the 5 minutes and the 1 minute. If I'm on the 4 hours, I will not be able to get information on the 30 minutes, 5 minutes, and 1 minute accurately. However, you will get accurate information on higher time frames than the one that your chart is currently on. So if I'm on 30 minutes, I will get information on the 4 hours and the daily. So if I go on the 1 minute, I will be able to get accurate information for all time frames. This is just a limitation with how TradingView works. This is not something I can do anything about. However, If you would like to take your chances and still have that information rather than not having it, you can go into the settings and uncheck this checkbox, auto hide inaccurate data, and it will stop hiding the lower time frames. So if you go into the 5 minutes, you'll see that I can see the lower time frames, but these values just changed. All I did was go to the 5 minutes. If I go to the 1 minute, you see those values are different. That data is inaccurate. That's why it's hidden by default. However, when the market is live, what I found is that the 1 minute and 3 minute work okay if you're on the 5 minutes, but I do not rely on lower time frame information when I'm not on when I'm not on the 4 hours and on the 1 day. It's just completely different from what the real story is. So do not rely on lower time frame information. It might be inaccurate. That's why it's hidden by default. Um, let's say you're not playing the 1348 and you're playing the 920 instead. You can click on the settings and change the fast EMA to 9 and the slow EMA to 20, and this will change this to 920. It will also change these lines to be following the 920. So you can configure which EMAs you're playing on over here. You can set it to whatever you want. Not 16, 1348 New York. I wouldn't worry about the rest of this. If you want too much data on your chart, I don't recommend it, but hey, like if you're looking for it, you can click on show indicator age. That's going to dump another number next to these, and all this number means, this new number, it is the number of candles that have passed since a crossover happened, right? So let's go on the daily. It's saying 11. So 11 candles ago there was a crossover, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Here is your crossover 11 candles ago. And it's the same for here. 16 candles ago, the price crossed above the 200 EMA. The price crossed above the VWAP 12 candles ago. I don't personally use it, but if you want that information, it's over here. Other things you can change about this thing is you can change its size, right? If you want a if it's hard for you to read it, you can make it really big, right? You can configure the size of it. You can also configure the position of it. You can move it wherever you want. You can move it to the top right. If you don't like it over there and you want it there instead, we can add it there. I personally like it at the bottom right. Other things you want to do is you want to make sure you have the right TradingView subscriptions. So here's a trick I can show you on how to use this and still get information about all time frames. What you want to do is you want to rock a 2-chart setup. The way you do that is again go into the Discord, click on Gabe's chart, make a copy of it, and then switch this to this. So now I have 2 charts side by side. Yeah, once you have your 2 charts set up, you go into the settings and you want to make sure you have these 3 things turned on. So all of these 3 settings are synced and you don't have the other information synced. Switch one of these two. I'm switching the left one to the 1 minute, and I'm leaving this one to the time frame I currently want to play on. So I'm going to leave this right one on the 5 minutes because I want to play on the 5 minutes. On this left one, I'm going to remove these two, and I'm going to add info panel. And now I have information for all time frames, and I can switch time frames on this one, and I don't have to worry about this thing hiding information from me. So I can have an overview of every time frame at the same time. You can also move that chart out of the way if you just care about that. Unfortunately, you cannot resize this in TradingView, but uh, you have this information. You can also go and make this larger. So like make it large. Now it's senior citizen size, and you can, yeah, now you can use this chart to do whatever you want, and you can use this panel here. This is one way to get around the TradingView limitation. You want this TradingView Pro plan, and scroll down, and you want to subscribe to Nasdaq, NYSE, and Arca. You want these three guys as well. If you have these three and the Pro plan, you should be able to use this indicator. I just recommend using it with the default settings to get a hang of it. It may or may not help you. If it helps you, awesome. If it doesn't, well, you found what doesn't work for you, right? Everyone's different. I made this for myself because I wanted to have an overview of the other time frames without having to jump between four different time frames when a crossover happens. I only have 2 minutes, and I just wanted information about higher time frames at a glance, and that's what this is for. I can also screenshot this when I'm entering a trade, so I have information about what the different indicators were saying at the time of my entry. Use it however you want. You might find better ways of using this than I did. I'm new to trading, but I just wanted to make this because it has helped me. I hope it helps you.